game all night on you.
One. What up? What up?
What's going on, guys? Oh, God, I got to crack that on the moment. I'm going to strangle you through this episode. What's going on, Chris? And this is Rico, 1-star Google review. Oh, God. Hey, sometimes you have inside jokes that we have to keep between us and maybe the 1-star Google review later on. You can check out. Anyway, so, guys, this is Season 2, Episode 2. Here we got going on. Rico, and myself, Chris from Make It Nerdy, Rico Reflection Comics, and this is...
Popping Through Culture.
All right, guys. So we got... I got to cut him off there. I'm sorry.
Sounds so different.
Sounds so different? Oh, only one?
Yeah.
Only... So...
Wow.
I'm beat. Wow. Oh, boy. Hey, listen, Rico and Chris, we got Popping Through Culture, and we have a lot of stuff to talk about today.
Oh, do we ever.
We're going to go through a bunch of things. We've got a lot of breaking news that is happening in media and in comics that are happening. And some movie that we're going to talk about that you're not too happy about.
I'm a big fan of the story. I'm a big fan of the comics. But I am so disappointed in this movie that just got released, I want to say a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago.
About a week and a half ago.
It's a 3-part series, but we'll get into it in order. We'll get to it. We're not quite there yet. But you're going to hear me. You're going to hear me.
All right. And with that being said, let's roll the intro.
Popping through culture, popping through culture, popping, pop, culture, baby. Remake, pop, lock, and drop it. Pop, lock, and drop it. Pop, lock, and drop it. What? Pop, go the weasel. Pop, goes the weasel. Weasel.
All right, guys. So listen, if you're enjoying the content as always, be sure to hit the subscribe, hit the like button, and comment and let us know what you feel about the show. How do you feel about what we're talking about today? Because we got a lot of things to talk about. And with that being said, breaking news, right, Rico? Andrew Garfield, he's slated to come back into the show.
My favorite Spider-Man.
Yeah, my favorite too. I really like Andrew Garfield. He's my favorite Spider-Man. But Peter Parker, I would say Tobey.
Tobey Maguire did play a good Peter Parker. Comic book accurate. But in the Ultimate Spider-Man, the first Ultimate Spider-Man,
yes,
I would say Tom Holland hit it spot on.
Really?
Yeah.
Truth be told,
the way it's drawn, the look of it.
Oh, okay. I don't think I read too much of Ultimate,
no?
the original Ultimate run. But if someone would hold the new Ultimate, I'd probably read that. But I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, you can pick that up at Reflection Comics while supplies last.
Yes.
Reflection Comics located where? In Punta Gorda, Florida.
If he holds them for you.
Pulling one right now.
So all right. So Andrew Garfield, returning. Is returning to the which movie he's returning to? He's returning to the...
Well, I heard rumors, so this could be fake news. The sources that I go to are pretty reliable. They're usually spot on. But there's rumor that he's going to be in a cutscene in Madam Web. And that's, like I said, it could be fact. It could be something that happened, then it gets cuts out. They might use that scene for a later date. But there's serious talk about him coming back to Sony to be in Madam Web and possibly doing a Spider-Man 3.
Yes,
well.
I did hear about the Spider-Man 3. I think that was on the heels of No Way Home.
Yeah,
the last Spider-Man movie, and just be able to see all those Spider-Men on the big screen, chills, man. I'm gonna tell you, chills.
Yeah.
Be able to see them just swing on, and then did you notice that little subtle thing at the end when they're fighting and they're on the Statue of Liberty? How they land? They all land in their specific landing.
Their signature poses?
Signature pose.
Yeah.
So I'm like, does anyone catch that?
But one of the cool parts about that movie that I think a lot of people probably got goosebumps when they saw it, because I got goosebumps right now just talking about it.
Yeah, me too. I'm just thinking about it. Like, ooh.
When they're all swinging, and then they hit that corner, and Tom Holland Spider-Man webs Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield by the wrist and whips them around. Did you catch that?
Yeah, when they're making that turn.
Yo.
Yeah, he swings them.
I don't know how many times I was like, did that just happen? Rewind. Did that just happen? It happened, but I got to look at it again. It's like seeing it for the first time every time I watch it. It's just something cool, a minute, small detail that really stood out. You know, because at first you don't realize it because it happens like that. Yeah. But those little moments count, I guess.
Yeah, I think those little moments are like what bring like those characters to life and like really like hits it home with those little details. Yeah, and I think that's really big for like the comic book reader, the person who's growing up with them. It's good to see, like, you know, obviously your heroes on the big screen and stuff like that, but someone who's been reading Spider-Man for many, many years, and actually see that come to life and see those motions on the big screen is, you know, it's amazing. Amazing. See what I did there? Amazing.
It's ultimate.
It's spectacular.
It's uncanny.
That's X-Men.
No, this is uncanny Spider-Man.
Uncanny Spider-Man.
It's on issue 3.
Yeah, it's new.
Nightcrawler. He's posing as Spider-Man.
Oh, that's not Spider-Man.
It's Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Anyway,
do anything in Spidey. Remember, anyone can wear the mask.
This is true. Anyone can wear. You know, fun fact, really quick, and we'll go on to the next thing.
Stan Lee, by the way.
Yeah, R.I.P. Stan Lee. Fun fact. Anytime I get a song like a earworm in my head, I sing the Spider-Man theme song from the show.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
I know all the words, and that's the song I sing to myself to get any earworm out of my head.
Awesome.
It's
like finding your happy place.
Yeah, so it's like let me see, like I'll have an earworm, and I'm like, damn it, I'm like, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can, spins his webs any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out! Here comes Spider-Man.
Is he strong? Listen, bud. He's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead.
See, there we go.
I'm loving it.
There's like 2 more verses, but we're not going to. Anyway, that being said, with Andrew Garfield, really excited to see him back on this big screen, right?
Yeah, sure.
And let's segue into the Ultimate Spider-Man that's coming back out.
Oh man, Ultimate Spider-Man. I'm liking it. Are you liking it?
I'm really liking it. I like the fact that we're not getting a young Peter Parker. But how it's set up, I'm worried about how they're going to drag him or take down his life. Yeah. Because the main Marvel universe just loves dragging Spider-Man through everything. And he goes through all these trials and tribulations and tragedies and stuff like that, and which I'm going to touch base on. We're talking about Echo later, right?
We'll get to it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna talk about that. So I'm not gonna dive into that, pop into that just yet. I want to talk about how Spider-Man or Peter Parker has his character goes through so much tragedy. But the fact that this Peter Parker in the Ultimate Universe actually was able to have a family. He has 2 kids. He's happy and everything.
A job. Yeah. He's not just an intern.
Yeah. Oh, and Uncle Ben's alive. And he's actually friends with JJ.
Yeah, good friends.
JJ's like his mentor.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's a panel where he goes and he's asks him, "Do you have a tie?" And he's like, "I don't own a tie."
Yeah, right.
And he goes, "You need a tie." JJ takes his own tie off and he's like, puts it on him. He's like, "You need a tie." And I think that was really, I guess, mold breaking. I want to say.
I don't think it's a father figure, but like you said, a mentor. I feel as though JJ always looked at Peter Parker as a kid, no matter how old he got or how old the writers allowed him to be.
Sure.
He was always that kid that just was trying to play catch up, and Jonah was always just, he never looked at him man to man. And I think in Ultimate Spider-Man, he finally gets to do that because Peter Parker doesn't have the pressure of being 2 different people at the same time.
Sure.
But before we get any further into Ultimate Spider-Man 1, let's go back and talk about why this comic book is allowed to happen. In Ultimate Invasion, the maker, which was Evil Reed Richards,
Yep.
he went to the test facility, and right before the spider was able to bite Peter Parker, he basically just grinned and flicked it away. And then that was the last time we saw Peter Parker in Ultimate Invasion.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously, years go by, 30 years go by, and poof, we have Peter Parker fully employed at the Daily Bugle with the kids. And also the reason why we don't have Aunt May is because in Ultimate Invasion, she died from an explosion.
Yes.
So that storyline was so I guess what they said in the Spider-Verse, someone from a Spider-Man or from Peter Parker's life has to go. So it was inevitable. He was going to lose somebody in his life, depending on the road that he was going to go.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a tragic loss. Like, it was like a part of an explosion that happened, but it wasn't. It was, they blamed it on Stark, right? I believe they blamed it on Stark, his explosion.
Yeah,
but it was a blast from, I think, the satellite.
Yes.
What happens? So there's a blast from the satellite. But they blame Stark and everything, and then so he kind of like blamed Stark for losing Aunt May, but it was like a casualty of war kind of thing. It wasn't like how Ben died or how any other tragedies like they get murdered and stuff like that. She was a casualty of an explosion that happened to be nearby, but because of they were blaming Stark for the explosion, which wasn't really him because Stark is alive, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So,
no. In Ultimate.
Yes. Doesn't
in the new Ultimate Universe?
Yes.
We don't know.
I think there's like he winds up getting away just in time. I have to rewind that back in my memory.
I don't remember in Ultimate Invasion him surviving Ultimate Invasion. I think the entire
because at
Marvel Universe got reset and everyone got a different lifestyle.
Yeah, well, because at the end of the Ultimate #1 now, you see him as an AI.
Yeah, and he's a younger looking Tony Stark too.
Yes.
Like he almost looks like he's the same age as what Peter Parker is in that comic book. So who knows? And but then also we got Matt Murdock. He is not Daredevil. He's a priest.
Yes. No, wait. Yes, he is a priest.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a priest.
I'm jumping in between. I'm popping through in between that one and what do we got here? Nope, not that one.
This one?
Nope, this one. Twilight. We'll talk about Twilight. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah,
we'll get to that.
We'll get to that in a minute. Yeah.
That's deep.
That one's gets pretty good. But yeah, Matt Murdock is a priest, and it's weird because he was raised in a convent.
He was
Catholic.
Yep.
So then instead of becoming the Daredevil, he became a priest, which is
a priest.
Okay.
Yep. And we have Norman Osborn. He passes away. We still got Harry Osborn, and we get a new version, or not a new version, but a different look of Hobgoblin, Green Goblin. I can't remember.
Green Goblin.
Green Goblin.
Yes.
And I think it looks really cool.
Yeah, it's like more mech.
Yeah.
More mechy looking.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's awesome. Who's the artist of that? Matthew Wilson.
Yeah.
Man.
And Jonathan Hickman. And so Hickman's stories.
Yeah.
Tend to get a little crazy.
But this coming up to issue 2 of Amazing Spider-Man, it was towards the ending of Amazing Spider-Man 1. I feel as though he got a flash flood of his past, or what his past could have been. So I feel as though he's gonna go into issue 2 right on as Spider-Man, not learning anything.
Of Ultimate Spider-Man.
I mean, excuse me, Ultimate Spider-Man.
I was like, when did we talk about it?
Yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 2. I feel as though, just my prediction, he's gonna go into it already knowing, not learning anything, not being he's gonna be a Spider-Man that's been doing it for a while.
So now, okay, that's a good question. Is like towards the end, and try not to spoil too much, but without having to talk about it, is if you were given the opportunity and to say, hey, you lived in another alternate universe, you were Spider-Man, but you also have all this tragedy that comes with it.
Yeah.
Would you take it?
It would depend on how my current living situation is.
You have a beautiful wife.
Yeah.
You have 2 great kids.
Uh-huh.
You have a job. You have a mentor. You have all this backing. But at the end of the day, you feel like something's off. You feel like there's something in the back of your head this whole time. You're like, everything's amazing, but something's off.
Well,
what is it?
If I was to go from the continuity of the comic book, you notice there's no crime in Ultimate Spider-Man 1. There's no hint of crime or bad guys or super villains or other superheroes. They don't talk about it at all.
Well, I mean, it's like...
So, it's like, why would I need to be a vigilante or a superhero if there's no necessary reason for me to
Well, they
do
might
it?
not just be talking about it, like, there's bad stuff that happens all the time in the world, but not always talking about it. It's like, in movies, you know, everyone has to go to the bathroom. You never see anyone like, hold on! I gotta run
That's true.
I gotta run and drop a juice real quick.
I think I would. Yeah.
Yeah?
Because I'm already well established. My kids are... I have kids. They're not young. Well, they're not babies.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would do it. Because if I did do it...
And what if they said, if you take this power and you become Ultimate Spider-Man, you become Spider-Man, period. You become Spider-Man, you have the powers, you have all the responsibility of Spider-Man. And they said, but at some point, you will lose someone because of your powers. We don't know who. You don't know who. You don't know when. But because of your inherentness of being that hero around you, or being the hero, at some point, you will lose someone close to you. You don't know when, and you don't know how, but it will happen. Will you still take the power?
And am I thinking of it as Peter Parker or as myself? So that's a big difference. That's a totally two different direction.
As yourself.
As myself, I don't think I could do it because I'm living a pretty good life. You know, I got my wife, I got my 2 kids, I got a good job, I got my Uncle Ben. Mm-hmm. But then again, as Spider-Man, he doesn't know loss. He doesn't know what it is to lose something. Well, as Peter Parker, but as Spider-Man, he understands the responsibility of that. There has to be a loss. There's a reason why he doesn't go with he breaks up and gets back together with MJ because he doesn't want her to be a part of that life, but MJ loves him enough to be a part of that life. So that's his struggle. His struggle isn't just going up against Sinister Six. Yeah, you know, his struggle is dealing with that loss and still fighting for someone. Sure, doesn't mean it has to be any particular name or a close loved one. It's just with great power comes great responsibility. So organically, Peter Parker would still pick, I will be Spider-Man. There has to be a Spider-Man. I think it's just his intuition. He would naturally do that. Okay. All right,
that's good. I mean, so now a lot of people say that, like, you know, psychologists would say, do you have, like, these heroes or the vigilantes or however you want to classify them as, they do these things because they have a hero complex. Like, they have to be, like, saving someone, like Batman, who doesn't just off Joker or, you know, just like, oh, we'll just put you in, you know, Arkham for a little bit, and then, you know, when you get bored, you just come out and we'll do this dance all over again, you know, because I have to have, you give me purpose to do something like that.
But I don't feel as though Peter Parker has a hero complex. No. I feel as though he made a promise to a loved one, and that's what keeps him fighting.
What promise would that be?
Uncle Ben. The death of Uncle Ben, he promised.
Uncle Ben, and ultimate, Uncle Ben's alive. Uncle Ben's alive.
I'm talking about just the ongoing, not this part, but just Peter Parker Spider-Man storyline. Okay. Like, he made a promise to Uncle Ben to revenge his death by getting his killer. But then when that came down to it, he's like, if I kill this person, I'm no different than this person. So now I want to make sure no one else feels lost the way I feel lost from losing my Uncle Ben. Okay. So it's not about a hero complex. It's about, I don't want anyone else to feel the way I feel right now.
Interesting.
You know? Or ever again in that moment. And I think that's I don't mean to jump from universes, but I feel as though that's Batman in a nutshell. You know, Batman, yes, in certain degree, Batman is crazy. He's a homicidal. He's a maniac. He needs to be in Arkham. He has mental problems, but his fight is to never allow another orphan to be killed by a criminal, or another kid to be killed by parents to be killed by a criminal.
But then he just brings in all these bad family members,
Well,
their children.
And I feel as though he's doing that. Like, the reason I feel as though, like, not so much Tim Drake or Jason Todd or Damian, but oh my goodness,
Dick Grayson.
Dick Grayson. Thank you. Couldn't remember Grayson. Dick Grayson. That is his success story.
Who?
Like Dick Grayson.
Oh yeah.
Dick Grayson. He never lost his way. He never went to a dark path. He grew up.
Mm-hmm.
He had a relationship. He lives on his own. He's
Became
happy.
Nightwing.
You know, he's never had to endure a dark side.
No.
You know, and it got to the point where Dick Grayson grew up and left Gotham and sweared and vowed to never become a Bruce Wayne. In some way, somehow, it always turns around where he has to either stand in for Batman when Batman's lost or too hurt to fight, or he's gone somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, that's just the story of Batman and Robin, I guess. But let's roll it back over. We're not talking much about DC today, are we? Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are.
We are.
We got a little bit of...
I just don't want to associate this moment with DC, because I like DC so much. But we'll get to it. What's next?
All right, so since we talking about alternate universes right now, we're talking about Ultimate Spider-Man. I think it's good that we can go segue into we got Avengers Twilight.
Avengers Twilight, guys.
Really good story.
Oh my goodness, Avengers Twilight, written by Chip Zdarsky. Right? Am I wrong? Am I right? I believe I'm right. Man, Chip Zdarsky's written stuff for Batman. He did Batman and Joker. He's also written for Daredevil. He has dark, cynical writing, and I love his storytelling. And he blesses us with Avengers Twilight. And what do you know about Avengers Twilight?
Well, it's Avengers Twilight starts off with Captain America, Steve Rogers, who is a retired Captain America, so much that he's don't no longer have the super soldier serum inside of him. And this is set in the distant future or semi-distant future. It's in
a distant future, still canon to the 616.
Yes, so it's kind of like Days of Future Past almost. Because it's supposed to be Days of Future Past is supposed to be in the far future of the X-Men continuity.
Yeah.
If the Sentinels take over and stuff like that, it's like Days of Future Past is like a large What If series. But it's like its own universe.
So would you say Avengers Twilight is teetering more on a What If storyline than a canon 616 storyline?
So far, how it feels like the feel of the book feels like that. It feels like a distant future, like what may happen if X, Y, and Z happens, or all those things that transpire. Because again, 616 is the current running time, the current running clock. So anytime you deviate from the current present time, it's an alternate or what if scenario down the line.
Yeah.
Right? Unless they show this is an altered timeline where it's still the current people, but you can obviously it's Peter Parker is he has 10 arms on his head. I don't know. I mean,
right? Yeah.
So I mean, you can obviously tell by the different storylines what would be an alternate timeline or a Elseworld story. Is Elseworld supposed to be for DC only, or is that just?
Well, I would say for Marvel, by definition, Elseworld would be a What If series. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Elseworld would be definitely for DC.
Okay.
As in what's a good Elseworld? Superman. So USSR Superman, Soviet Superman. Mm-hmm. That's more of a
Elseworld,
or Injustice. Mm-hmm. That's more of an Elseworld. Oh my goodness.
We're having a hard time talking today.
Yeah, right.
Jeez. All right.
Oh my
I think I
goodness.
gotta do more talking. I don't like talking either. So anyway, yeah. So Twilight, it's a really cool story, really cool concept where it's set in the future, distant future.
Mm-hmm.
You got Luke Cage in there. You got Captain America. You got Daredevil, Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
He's old and gritty.
Yeah.
And then Luke Cage was actually, because of his hardened skin, it's gotten to the point that it's gotten so hard he can barely move anymore.
Yeah.
Like he's almost immovable, right?
Yes.
And then where it goes to towards the end of the book is kind of lines up with Ultimate Spider-Man, where he's given the choice of, do you want to go back being that hero? You have the opportunity to be the hero that you were. Will you take it? And of course, Steve Rogers.
Well, I don't know. Well, let's talk about why this world is the way it is.
All right. So
You know, like it all started. Well, I feel if my memory is good, superheroes are outlawed, or superheroes are basically outlawed because of H-Day, which was created by Hank Pym, who created Ultron, which manipulated Bruce Banner, which we don't really understand why they get in too much detail about it. They just mentioned it in the first issue, but and they did a brief flashback on it when Incredible Hulk basically destroyed New York City, and in the midst of that, you see the death of Peter Parker. You see the death of Spider-Man.
Yep.
Which I thought was a very good idea for multiple reasons. Well, we just got a new Spider-Man story. Right now, there's like 5 or 6 different Spider-Man comic books. We don't need Spider-Man in this comic book. If you want to read about him in his new issue that's out right now, and all the other issues that he's in, you know. And on top of that, it really sets the tone of this story.
Yeah.
Like, I feel as though, I think when Chip Zdarsky wrote this story, he was like, let's kill the most innocent hero out there, and that would really put a very deep, dark shadow on this story. Like, let's kill the youngest superhero in Marvel history.
You think they took a page from the MCU when they killed off Spider-Man, and everyone was like, I got goosebumps now just thinking about it.
When they killed off Spider-Man in
the Infinity War, when he dies at the end, when he gets snapped, and everybody's like, oh my god, you killed off Peter Parker.
Well, I don't think it was that kind of emotional, because they knew he was coming back, because he just got faded, he just got dusted, you know, or blipped. But in this one, he's in rubble. He is dead. He ain't coming back. They show him his last dying breath was telling Captain America who he was. He was like, I'm PPP, and then he just died. And he goes, and Captain America responds back, is, you're Spider-Man, and that's forever how you will be.
Sure.
You know, and at least in the world's mind, you died a hero. You didn't die a random. And like I said, I think Chip Zdarsky hit it hard, and did it right. He was a very bold move when he killed off the youngest person in the MCU, and it really showed the tone of this story. And by doing so, they banned superheroes. So all superheroes had to go in hiding or just retire.
Yeah.
And
then you can't record. There's no recording. It's weird.
Yeah. Social media. It's like, you can't do that. The one kid almost got beat up because he was just filming himself walking down the street. You know? And it also gives me this Frank Miller Dark Knight Return vibe when it comes to Captain America, because he's this old man, retired, but he's still looking for a fight. He has that hero. What was that word you used?
Hero complex?
He has that hero complex.
See?
You're right.
See? I'm telling you.
And he still wants to be... He doesn't want to be Steve Rogers. He's settling with being Steve Rogers. He needs to be Captain America. He has that organic fight in him, you know? What?
No, go ahead.
And, yeah, he's just looking for a fight. Not looking for a fight in a harsh way, but he's going to always want to stand in the way of someone being victimized.
Sure.
And they kind of show that. And what reminded me of the Dark Knight Return is, yeah, he stepped in the way to fight these guys, and he was all good about it, but he forgot just how old he is. And he's losing a step, you know? And he kind of got beat up. But then he gets help, you know? And that reminded me at the end of it, he gets help, but we'll get to that in a minute. But it kind of reminded me of The Dark Knight Returns, where old man Bruce Wayne was like, you know what? This city needs a hero, and I'm tired of resting. Yeah, I got some age on me, I got some rust, but let's just knock it off and let's put the suit back on.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what it is. But because of what's going on in the political landscape and what's going on in the world, Luke Cage reaches out and they bring him in and they say, hey, do you want to be Captain America again?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, like, I can't. I physically can't. I don't have this serum. And they're like, yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Ha-ha. And what does he ultimately do? He becomes Captain America again.
But why do you, because I think they talked about it, why do you think they just didn't use someone else? Someone younger?
Because they mentioned it because it wasn't by chance. It wasn't like luck of the draw. It's just his innate ability, like his it wasn't like luck. Oh, like because they think they tried other people. Oh, they tried other people.
Yeah,
they tried other people, and it just wasn't sticking.
Yes,
it's like a vaccine or something like that. Or trying to find a cure. If it doesn't stick to that person, or the molecules or the composition doesn't stick to that person, I think a lot of people wind up dying, right? And stuff like that. So it just so happens the composition of Steve Rogers, his innate DNA makeup, allowed for the serum to stick to him, be able to evolve in him, for him to be able to adapt to the serum and become Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
So that's why they ultimately say, well, we have to go find Steve Rogers because we keep killing people.
Yeah, right. Can't be sticking everybody.
Yeah.
But the big bad of this series, I believe it's Tony Stark's son.
Yes. James Stark.
What's his son's name?
I think it's I think it's James Stark. James? No, younger brother.
No, he's being raised by Jarvis's younger brother.
Yes,
but
the creepy stuff. The creepy thing is, he's keeping
James Stark. Yes,
I told you.
Sorry.
Test me again.
Yeah. Hey.
Anyway, after Rico finishes testing me over here, like I didn't do my homework. Anyway, the creepy thing is, he's keeping his dad alive.
Right, his head.
I was like, what?
They did that before.
No, but I think that was an AI. That wasn't the same. No, like they're keeping his head, and like he like puts his helmet on so that way that's how he's able to get all the tech and keep evolving and stuff, because he's just using his mind, and like he's like in a tank. It was creepy.
It wasn't House of M when they did that. I think it was House of M when Reed. Yeah, the Council of Reed, or I believe, I could be wrong, but I know they kept Tony Stark's conscious, his brain. They kept it alive, and his conscious or his brain basically sent a virus to one of his suits that popped up an AI head, and that's how he was still able to be Spider-Man. That's how he was still able to be Captain America. And I don't remember what storyline that is, but yeah, there was for a while Tony Stark only existed through AI that basically was able to control the Iron Man suit. So you saw a hologram of his head.
Well, I think that's also with along with the Ironheart series. Because he was like the AI that helped Riri Williams. You're rubbing off on me now. Thanks. So yes, Riri Williams. Did it again. No, that's not funny. That's not funny. We're not gonna do that. Maybe we'll cut that out. I don't know.
He did that. He did that. Not us.
Riri Williams.
Yeah.
Is she has Tony Stark's AI that works with her and stuff like that for her Iron Man suit. But
do you think it was a cool idea? I don't know. Well, maybe you didn't know. So I don't know. Maybe you did. Since there's no Avengers, and we skipped another vital part. They also killed Daredevil off in this series
at the end, because in the beginning you see him. So like somewhere in the middle,
They killed them off.
Huh.
And I think they did that for Spider-Man and Daredevil. They did that for two reasons. One, they both have major content out right now. Why put them in another story? Why, let them be in their own universes or in their own storylines. And so we don't need them. They're not relevant in this storyline.
Well, because it's so far into the future, I don't think it has any effect on their current storylines.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Peter Parker dying, that would affect, I would say, that would affect more like the current, like present day, because it happened in the past.
True.
Whereas now when Matt Murdock dies, that's off into the future. So him dying, like, if you died when you're 80, has no effect of you sitting here right now.
I have a thing. Here's my thing.
Okay.
I bet you in every Ultimate Spider-Man, well, if this Ultimate Spider-Man is like the first Ultimate Spider-Man, Spider-Man dies at the end of Ultimate Spider-Man, the Volume 1.
Yeah, and that's how we get Miles.
Yeah.
Right?
Wouldn't it be cool if the new Ultimate Spider-Man storyline, he dies, and that picks up where Avengers Twilight begins? Predicting futures right now.
Wow.
Big nerd. That's what happens.
If only I can get my hands on those books, that'd be good.
You got one. It's turning. It's making. It's in process.
Yeah, well, keep processing that. That one star staying up there until.
But
anyway, so Luke Cage is like the leader of an underground team.
The Defenders.
I guess because he was on the original Defenders, so it's still the Defenders rolling.
He was also the leader of the Avengers for a couple storylines.
Yep.
Which was cool how they used a bunch of low level or street level vigilantes, I guess, or heroes to be the leader of the Avengers. I think that's pretty cool. We don't always need that top tier, I guess you would say, that A ranking superhero to lead. A hero's a hero, no matter how,
Yeah, because I think he was also so he was a leader for a little time and I think the A roster too. It was like one of the heavy hitters. He was the leader. Because not only just because he happened to be bulletproof or anything, but because more so that he had he was a good fighter. He was like intellect for he had a pretty decent intellect to lead a team, to be a team lead and stuff like that.
And in Gang War, he's the leader of the Defenders as well in the ongoing Luke Cage series. So I don't know. I feel as though a lot of these comic book series are going to end going into Avengers Twilight. I think it's going to happen.
That'd be
What do
cool.
you think?
I mean, there's a lot of those. Well, you have a lot of storylines that intertwine into itself, and then for it to say like what in a year? What do you think? What do you think the timeline of that progression would be? What do you predict? Because you're predicting over here. What do you predict of the timeline to say? You think Twilight's going to be a limited? Is it Twilight's going to be a limited run where it's a I think it's going to be this short little story where Ultimate Spider-Man runs into Twilight?
I feel as though that could happen. Like if you look at the age of Spider-Man now, and compared to
wait, what in Twilight wasn't he young though?
When it was a flashback of him dying.
Yeah, but in Ultimate he's older. So not the same.
Well, they don't really show you or talk about how old Peter Parker is when he dies in Twilight. They just show him beat up, battered, and half of his mask was missing.
Because he looks young, because in Ultimate he has a beard.
Yeah. I feel as though you would shave the beard.
To get into the mask?
Yeah. It'll be all frumpy and it'll smell under there. And
Smelly.
be all matted.
Smelly beard mask.
Like imagine. You remember when Andrew Garfield always took off his mask, which he purposely said he did. He took it off in a way where his hair always looked messy, and they asked him why. He's like, "Well, think about what you're wearing. You're gonna have the sweat under there. You're gonna get dirty under there." So he said, whenever he took off his mask, he would take it off from the top, grab his hair, and rip it off. Imagine your beard. Ugh.
Well, let's see, if you get the trim, it would hold the mask in place. You know, if you keep it, it's like Velcro,
or just stick through.
Ooh, true.
He'd
He'd be using his face to like climb the walls.
Oh, he'd like a tarantula face, or tarantula's butt.
Imagine? I guess.
No, don't imagine that.
No, I don't want to imagine that. Let's go on. All right.
Let's go on.
You're weirding me out.
What are we going on to?
Well, while we're talking about Elseworlds and Ultimate Timelines, let's dive into Infinite Crisis. Right? Infinite Crisis. Right?
Yeah.
Crisis on Infinite Earth. Sorry, guys. I'm flipping that around.
What do we want to talk about?
Reverse it.
Oh man, do we want to talk about
the amazing movie?
All right. If we talk about the movie, we gotta at least end it on a positive note and talk about the comic book.
Okay, let's start with my first note of what the movie looked like. Right away, the animation kind of looked like Archer.
Hated it.
You hate Archer?
No. Well,
I'm gonna leave right now. You hate
Archer.
Goodbye.
I don't like the artwork. I feel as though, for the longest time, MCU has been killing it with movies.
Okay.
Right? Can we agree to that? I think we can. Compared to DC.
MCU.
Marvel's been doing really well with movies compared to DC movie making.
In the average, I would say yes.
No.
And lately, it's kind of a hit or miss.
Yes. But now, keep in mind, every time DC puts out an animated movie, it's amazing.
Oh, DC's movies are amazing. That's why I'm like,
right?
I lose my mind. Like,
Flashpoint.
Why?
You have Justice League War.
Mm-hmm.
You have Aquaman. You have Judas Contract. You have the Teen Titans. You have
Titans Go.
Everything, Constantine. Everything that DC put out animated wise leading up to Justice League Apocalypse has been spot on 5-star when it comes to animation. And then after Justice League Apocalypse, where fucking Barry Allen had to go back and start it all over again to create another Flashpoint, he generated this universe where it looks like a bunch of just markered, cut out, paste, layered shit. And yeah, real talk, bro. And now DC is, well, they deserved it. And now DC is force feeding us this Fisher-Price Play School Crayola art. And why? What for? Why don't you use your comic book artist to create a movie, and you have a whole year to do this. And this is how you start off. Marvel already said they're coming out with nothing for a whole year. This is the time where DC should be definitely taking advantage of that. And they give us garbage for the year of 2024. They give us a storyline. Oh, man. They give us a storyline that is all over the place. They give us artwork that is garbage. And we have to endure it 2 more times. This will be a 3-part series. And why would you put one out in the beginning of the year, put another one out towards the end of the year, just to put a 3rd piece of shit out towards the next year? And, yo, right? That's how I'm feeling right now, bro. And this is your time to shine. This is your time to take over. Why would you give us this? You know, and I love this show. And it's like all they did was take the CW or the WB universe, the Arrowverse of Crisis on Infinite Earth, and they animated it. And it just looks so bad. They introduced so many good characters, and they all are poorly designed or poorly animated. All of them. They introduced, what's his name? Amazing Man. They introduced Amazing Man, and they gave him a brief cameo, and he looks like garbage on film. Why did they do that?
Amazing Man?
Amazing Man. He's a black guy with green and orange. Amazing Man.
Yeah, that's what that was?
Yeah. See, they're giving us all these awesome throwback characters, and they're not presenting them the way they should be presented. And all the artwork looks like crap. All of it looks like crap. I give it a 1. I give it a 1. And the only reason why I give it a 1 is because I gave it enough shit to watch it. Other than that, fuck that movie. Straight up. I don't like the movie. I don't like the movie. And that's all I'm going to say curse word wise about the movie. I'll dial it back down to PG-13. I hope you guys muted it and put the caption on anyway. But other than that, it's a great comic book. It's a great 12-part series. I love the comic book. I have it here at Reflection Comics. It's just, why, DC, would you animate a classic storyline, an iconic storyline like this, and you just basically scribbled some shit on paper and force-fed it to me? I'm disappointed in you. Utterly disappointed. How do you feel about this?
Wow.
How do you feel about this show?
After that, I need like a...
Take your time.
I need a cold shower. I mean, I did.
Oh,
I
ran that shit through the mud,
like,
right?
Whoa. I was like...
I gave it to you. Straight to the chest.
Whew.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I need a shot.
I'm going to need like a lap or something. I don't know. But, yeah, wow. Okay. I wouldn't give it a 1. Let's start. I wouldn't give it a 1. Let's start with that.
I give it the triangle part of a star. That's all I give it.
You done? You had your time.
Whew. Yeah.
I swear. You see what I deal with the whole time?
I need a minute.
All right. So, my take on Crisis on Infinite Earths. I've read the book. I know the story. And I also watched the Arrowverse, and so I know the show, the storyline for their take on Infinite Earths. It was not exactly like the Arrowverse. Why? Because they're big bad. They didn't have Amazo. They didn't have Amazo in the show. The only thing I think your big take on it is they have Black Iris. They have Black Iris from the show. Like, the show has Black Iris, and in the comic they use Black Iris. That's my big take from when you mentioned to me that it's like from the show. But otherwise, because I've read the book and I've seen both, I can't really see the comparison. The artwork has like that big, bold, black borderline. It really reminds me of Archer. I mean, if you don't like Archer, if you don't like that animation, then yes, I can see you not enjoying it. But I kind of enjoyed Archer. I mean, I enjoyed Archer, like the story and the characters, and Lana! What? This is actually a throwback from the last episode. Lana. But going back into the story, I mean, there's they go to the other world and stuff like that. It is a little confusing as far as where you are, like, in the timeline. Is he going back and forth? Because it really surrounds the story around Barry Allen and going in and out and time slipping and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it does get kind of confusing if you don't, like, fall asleep middle of the movie and then wake back up and, like, where am I at with this movie? Because that kind of happened. But,
oh, really?
Well, that because I was going out doing a lot that day, so I was trying to, like, do my homework and be, supportive of the show here.
Yeah.
So, but but when I was watching it, it was okay. I mean, again, not a 1. I'd probably give it like a 5, at the most. But the animation was, again, has very bold borderlines and stuff like that. So as far as the storyline, it kind of sticks more to the comic book, not so much to Arrowverse, even though the Arrowverse, that was kind of convoluted and stuff like that. They speed through it, like they only have a few episodes that dedicate itself to the Infinite Crisis. I think it only gave itself like 4 episodes, and it was 4 or 5 episodes, mm-hmm. and that was across the different shows that were currently running. Like Infinite Crisis, it's a big story. It's a very involved. How many books is involved for Infinite Crisis? Like 24, 12 books.
Crisis on Infinite Earth?
Yeah,
it's 12 books.
Yeah, so it's a very involved story. So for you to show it on screen, you definitely need like at least 12.
12.
Yeah, so it has 12 books on it. So you need at least 2 parts, if not 3. So they're doing a 3-part. So I don't know. It's not that bad to the point where it's like it's total trash. I mean, yes, there are. I think we're just so used to seeing the animation of, say, Apocalypse and all that stuff. All the animation prior to that, it was very like, I don't want to say crisp, but like straight lines and how the animation is. But also, you can't take comic book artists and make them animators, because animators are not comic book artists, and comic book artists are not animators.
Yeah, but at the same time, you have a reputation. Like, if you are a comic book company,
So how about this?
you can't come out with crappy animation.
So how about
It's just
this?
expected.
If they kept the animation the same style as the previous movies that were used to, like, or like, say, Justice League Unlimited. I like that artwork. Like the Justice League animated Ultimate, like that animation is pretty cool and stuff like that. If they made the storyline to that,
Well, if they
the animation style,
Well, just two things. If they went back to the old animation style, yeah, the movie would have been it would have been pleasantly viewed. I would have enjoyed viewing the movie. But also, they completely took scenes from DCU movies. Like the whole scene where Batman or Bruce Wayne, at the moment he was Bruce Wayne. He was sleeping and he wakes up, and then the Flash was like, "Am I too soon? Am I too soon?" Do you remember that? Well, they basically took that entire scene and they put it in the Crisis animated film. When Old Man Flash went back to Barry Allen when he first got struck by lightning when the chemicals doused on him, and he was like, "Am I too soon? Am I too early? Blah blah blah," and then he just basically zipped away. It was like.
so if anything, they took it from the movie as opposed to the Arrowverse. Then,
Well, they're just what I mean is they're just taking things from other movies, because they also made canon to Justice League War World when Bruce Wayne was a Viking. When in all actuality, that should have been Wonder Woman's role. And that movie as well. Me and my son sat down and watched that movie. And my son looks up at me like, "Yo, this ain't DC." Like, he looked at me like, "This isn't Justice League, Dad." And I'm like, "You're right." And then he even said, "What's up with the artwork?" Like, this is coming from an 8-year-old kid. Sorry, I know that's a rated R Justice League film, but it's animated and there's no cursing, and there's no profanity or nudity. Let him watch it. Plus, I'm a responsible adult. My decision, not yours. But a little bit. I'm responsible enough to have kids. Kind of. But anyway, it's just, I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to wrap up this version of the DC universe. And then they're using this movie to basically project James Gunn's vision of the DCU. And that's exactly what they're doing.
they're really leaning in hard with this James Gunn universe.
Because he said after this film, there's going to be a flashpoint, obviously, and it's going to rewrite the whole DC universe. And in Crisis on Infinite Earth, there's multiverses. Well, towards the ending of Crisis on Infinite Earth, all those multiverses die out, and there's one Earth now.
Sure.
And also that kills off the Flash as well, because in Crisis on Infinite Earth, you lose Supergirl and you lose the Flash. They both die.
Yep.
There's a couple. I don't remember which Robin. Robin dies as well in the later episodes. But if I have to really look forward to something in this show within the 3-part series, there's a part in the series, I don't remember what issue it is, but it's all devoted to the villains. Because the villains, obviously, they're also taking their toll on this as well. So they have to band together and fight the Anti-Monitor. I believe Monitor becomes the Anti-Monitor. And they have to eventually come in as well in the midst of all of this. So I'm looking forward to that. But I am going to watch...
Good thing you brought that up. The Anti-Monitor wave. So that happens in Arrowverse. So I guess that maybe they might have taken that part also from Arrowverse, because in the Infinite Crisis, there's actually like a being, the Anti-Monitor, that is consuming all the multiverse, and then you have the Monitor, who's there to like band them all together and to say, hey, we gotta make this tower. They wind up using this tower, and then what happens is in the book, Barry uses his speed to power the towers, which happens in the book also, which is odd because it keeps bouncing back and forth between old Barry, young Barry, middle-aged Barry, and then it's like, where are we? I'm like, I'm a little lost on the time when the time skip. It's like, because they don't actually, I think they touch on like now, present, whatever, but like it's not, really flushed out to like where we are in that time period, where you are in the time period. So you kind of have to like, is the old Barry when they're finishing up? Oh, and then he uses his super speed to pretty much freeze time so that they can have their time to build the things, to build the tower. And it actually winds up being, it seems like, from how they told it, it was like years. Like, we had all this time to build this. So as soon as he drops back down into normal speed, he everything speeds up, and they like all of a sudden the tower is built because their super speed is and it's kind of weird how they do that, how they project that to change everything, and then Iris winds up dying, blah blah blah. But in the comic book, Barry winds up dying because he's going at such a super speed. He winds up getting absorbed into the Speed Force, and that's when we wind up losing Barry Allen.
He becomes the Speed Force.
He becomes part of the Speed Force, or is the Speed Force.
Yeah.
And then that's when we wind up losing Barry Allen for many, many decades, and that's when Wally West picks up the mantle, and White Wally West picks up the mantle,
right? Yeah. One thing I was, oh man, what's their name? Justice Syndicate. They're basically the bad guy version of the Justice Syndicate. Like
Ultraman and Night Owl
and what was the speedster's name? He's from Australia. Don't remember, but he's another version of the Flash.
Hi, mate.
And Supergirl, not one. Supergirl's like a Wonder Woman. Supergirl infused.
She has a little mole. Kind of sexy.
I was happy to see them. I like seeing those guys. The Justice Syndicate.
Yes. And
I was really hoping we were going to get another Owlman versus Batman fight. Owlman always kicks the crap out of Batman. It's basically
because he doesn't hold his punches.
He doesn't hold back. Yeah, like Batman fights to put you down. Owlman fights to put you down for life.
Dirt nap.
Yeah, and I was really looking forward to seeing that. But and I also saw a sneak peek of Part 2. Terry McGinnis. We're gonna get Batman Beyond in Part 2. So I'm truly hoping, which they probably won't, because it'd be confusing. But I kind of hope they alter the animation style in the second and third one. I doubt it because they're already probably pre-made.
Yeah, they're already done.
What's done is done.
They're pretty done.
And I don't know, man. Like I'm gonna watch Part 2 just so we can talk about it again.
Sure, and you can trash talk that.
Well, it may change. It might, cause like I remember when I first watched this anime style, I did not like it. It was when it was Justice Society, when Flash went back to the Justice Society World War I, and at first I did not like it, but then throughout the movie I just got used to it. Yeah. And then I watched that movie again for a second time, and I ended up liking it. It was a good story. And I'm gonna go back and rewatch.
I think you should rewatch it.
I'm gonna rewatch it, and
now you got my feedback. Maybe
I got different influences, and I'm gonna be more patient with the film. But first glance, first review, I just obviously didn't care for the movie that much, and that's all. I don't have much else to say about the movie, to be quite honest with you. Other than that, man, what comics are you reading right now?
I'm trying to read Ultimate Spider-Man, so I'm still trying to get my hands on that one. We'll find out. I'll let you know how that goes.
Oh my goodness. So, I got one for you over here. Right now they got X-Men. Whoa, man. They're back at it again. You got X-Men 1 House of X, X-Men 1 Fall of X, and X-Men number 30. It's all out at the same time. And they all intertwine in the same universe. And there's like 2 different Earths or something like that. I don't want to say I gave up on X-Men. It's just I don't read them as hardcore as I used to.
Well, yeah, I want to get into the Fall of X, the Fall of the House of X. So because I'm a big X-Men. Back in the day, big into X-Men. I was like reading X-Men and stuff like that. I think I liked it because it was always like they were the outcast, and I saw myself as an outcast.
Okay.
You know, when I was a kid and stuff like that. So it kind of like spoke to me, so to say. So it was enjoyable to read as a person, as a reader.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I gravitated towards it when I was a kid. But so now, but I'm still stuck with like those same characters and like the new characters that they've come in with the last 10-15 years and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. So getting back into X-Men now and stuff like that. Maybe someone will hold a comic book for me that I asked them to hold for me. So, but we'll see how that goes.
I made one mistake. One mistake.
It was actually 3 mistakes.
It's a fixable mistake.
It's actually 3 mistakes.
It's just not an immediate. It'll happen. I got issues left. I got plenty of issues left. I just don't have that one cover. And I understand.
The 2 covers.
There's cover junkies. There's variant cover junkies, and then there's comic book collectors. And this guy over here, he's particular about his covers. And I dropped the ball just slightly. I double dribbled just a little bit.
Double dribbled a little bit.
But I'm gonna fix it. Hellblazer, Constantine's on number 1, and the artwork is amazing. I have not really dived into the comic book yet, but as soon as I do, I will give you guys a review on that one. From the looks of it, I just gave it once over, a good glance. The artwork is really poppy. I like it. The covers are really fun. They're just good wall art or just something to have in your collection. Superman is actually coming out with multiple different titles. You got ongoing Superman. You got Superman Action Comics. Superman Lost just ended. It's on issue 10. That was the final one. You got Superman 78. Also, you got Kneel Before Zod takes place back on Krypton. So you got General Zod. That's the storyline based around him. I have not yet got my hands inside of that comic, but I'm going to. I am, and once I do, I promise you I'll give you guys a review on that and on Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. They're now in Atlantis, and tell me why Aquaman sent a Kraken to fight Godzilla. So now we got a Kraken. He released the Kraken. So we got a Kraken fighting Godzilla, which makes sense. It wouldn't be Kong because, Godzilla can swim, which is awesome. And I bet you, it makes sense because Godzilla can go down that deep into the earth or into the ocean. Why would he not be? How come Aquaman has never seen or heard of a Godzilla yet? Why not?
Well, because this Godzilla is brought in from another universe. You gotta remember that. Like Godzilla and Kong is not part of this universe. They brought him in. Is it Lex Luthor? I think Lex Luthor brings him over because he winds up getting some kind of control box, some kind of the MacGuffin thing that he got his hands on, and he brings the monsters in from another universe. Hence why Aquaman's ever heard of.
True.
Godzilla. There you go. Boom.
Boom. There you go.
So. That being said, we went through a lot of stuff. We talked about a lot of stuff, like talked angrily about a few things.
Yeah.
So what else? What else we got going on in the next couple of weeks?
Cobra Commander number 1. That's out right now. It's selling. It's running off the shelves, man. Pick up your Ultimate Spider-Man as soon as you can because issue 1 is going up in value. Issue 2, 3. 4 is all going up in value, and everybody wants that sought after symbiote black suit Spider-Man suit. That is also going into the $55 range. And get them while you can. Other than that, man, comics are going to be comics. You live, you love, you get rid of them, you forget about them, you toss them, you buy them, you collect them, you resell them. Other than that, I think we kind of crossed our T's and.
Yeah, I think we talked about everything we wanted to talk about today.
Yeah.
Enough information to back everything up.
True that.
Right?
True that.
So that being said, guys, again, comment down below if you have read these books, if you've watched the movie of Crisis of Infinite Earths. Please rebuttal Rico here if you feel otherwise. If if you rate it higher than a 1, if you rate it a 1, tell Rico he has it right. But that being said, guys, this is Popping Through Culture, guys. I'm Chris from Making Nerdy.
I'm Rico from Reflection Comics.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Peace. So how's that bat suit? How's that working out for you?
Almost done.
Yeah?
I'm mounting everything.
Yeah.
I got the
Cool,
glove. I got
cool.
put the hands. We were like trying to like figure out which fingertip goes with which because they're all mixed together.
Have you put the whole suit on yet? Walked around with it?
Not yet. I got the helmet on, the belt on. I did a little jig.
That's cool.
And then we got to do is mounting. I got all the straps and everything, so we got to do all that fun stuff.
Man,
So.
we need a guest. We need to find a guest. Who should our next guest be?
Yeah. Well, you didn't like this?
No, I love this. This is awesome.
Fuck you.
I'm down with this.